So let's get back to the Premier League here for a few minutes as we wrap up the show. We had a slide last week, which was 3 from 5. It looked like it might go a little different. This is the 3 from 5 now, and it can't get much tighter. We should note before we go further in the conversation, Manchester City does play Bournemouth tomorrow. Excuse me. So if Manchester City were to secure a victory tomorrow, they would move into third place. A draw will also move them into third place overall on goal difference. But Paul, it's a very, very interesting. So let's start with that match right there quickly. I believe it's at City. It's Bournemouth versus City. Bournemouth is a team that plays the big clubs better than they do the small clubs because they like to attack. And City just couldn't score against Crystal Palace and Southampton over the last 8 days. So what shot do you give Bournemouth of maybe nicking a point? What shot do you give Bournemouth of just coming out and saying, we got nothing to play for anymore? Let's go take all 3 and see if we can't knock them out of Champions League.
I mean, I think they can 100% go in here and get points. I mean, I would almost expect it, to be quite honest with you. I would be more shocked if City showed some resolve and some fight and came out here and basically put their foot on their throat and throttled them like 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, something like that. That, to me, would be a shock. Bournemouth going in and winning 2-0 is not as big of a shock as City going ahead and doing that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we saw it in the Arsenal match when they went to the Emirates and they won 2-1, and they could have won by more. Like, that's the thing. Like, when Bournemouth's on their game, they can beat anyone, and they can beat you at your game. They beat you by playing their game and not worrying about your game. Like, they create tactics and they just attack. It's really refreshing. It's fun to watch. It'll be interesting to me to see what type of lineup he puts out there. Like, he didn't play Kusanov, obviously. He didn't play Vita Reese. Like, does he give some of these guys who have been on the fringe minutes? Because that's an old team. I don't think you can run everyone who just went to Wembley and played on Saturday out again on Tuesday and expect it. I mean, De Bruyne played a lot of minutes. Obviously, Haaland played. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Now, when we fast forward into game week 18, I feel like Newcastle specifically has the best fixture because I think they're at home at a place like St. James's Park and they're playing Everton. Everton has been much better under Moyes, but they just had that ridiculously emotional send-off at Goodison, which was cool for them. They had a great day. They got their victory. I do feel bad for Seamus Coleman that he goes off injured when he's only started 3 matches all year. He gets to start the last game at Goodison and he goes off hurt. But that's classic Seamus Coleman, right?
He's had like 42 years. He's fine.
Well, I was just gonna say he has had more appearances than Jesus, but they had their great day. They had their day in the sun. I almost feel like it's hard for them to get up to. Like, they're on the beach. There's no reason to worry about anything. I think that crowd at St. James's Park won't allow Newcastle not to secure 3 points in that match, which makes me feel like they'll be safe. Villa has to travel to Old Trafford and go to United. It could be literally a funeral. It could be them trying to celebrate like they literally just won the league. You never know what you get there, and it could be awkward. Forest takes on Chelsea. So
that's it. That's the match.
Like, in your mind, regardless of how tomorrow's encounter goes with Bournemouth and City, is it Chelsea versus Forest? If Forest wins, they're in. And if not, most likely, because we all believe City's going to find a way between Fulham and Bournemouth to get enough points to survive. Though it would be the most beautiful thing ever if they were literally sent into the Europa Conference League. It would literally warm my heart more than anything in the world if Pep had to coach somewhere literally on a plastic pitch in Lithuania next season. And it can happen, people. It can happen.
So my dream scenario is somehow Chelsea crashes out of this thing. Forest beats them. Chelsea crashes out into the 6th spot. Is that right? Yeah. No, into the 6 or 7. What spots?
The 7th spot.
7 spot. They don't get Europe, right? Because like here's my thing about Chelsea, right? And this has nothing to do with that they stole multiple defensive midfielders out from under us in a window where we desperately needed one. This has more to do with the fact that they have just thumbed their nose at the financial fair play regulations and just basically said, do your worst. I would love nothing more for them to lose the parachute of money that comes with European competitions and crash out of this and be stuck on an island where they have some serious things to consider and figure out financially. And then if they can crash out and I can see City drop down in Europa and have to go play in some terrible Eastern Bloc country on a cold Thursday night, like that to me is like best case scenario across the board. That being said, I think City will probably pick up enough. I have a feeling Chelsea is going to win a super ugly game. That's like 1-0. That's my personal gut feeling on that. But I'd love to be wrong on both fronts.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I do really want Forest to win. I think somewhere deep down, Forest might think like a draw or even a loss and going into the Europa Conference and actually competing in a tournament that they might be the betting favorites or the top 3 betting favorites going into next year might almost benefit them as much as the financial influx of going into the Champions League. Because Forest in the Champions League is probably going to look a lot like Newcastle's first run in the Champions League, where they had about a half of every match where they could compete at a good level. And then at some point they were like, we might be from the Premier League, but I don't know if we're at this level yet midweek. And I could see, and I'm not saying that Forest will get relegated because we both made the mistake of saying they might be close to the relegation zone this year. One of us might have actually said they were going down and their manager would be fired.
Wasn't me.
That guy has a mustache. But no, I'll tell you what, Tuesday, Saturday football could put them right back into that frame of being in trouble if a few of these teams make the move. And we've talked about it before. It'll be a long time before there's another real relegation battle because some team from the championship's going to have to come up and show that they can kind of stick around. I mean, Leeds does still have a payroll that is higher than Ipswich's right now. So maybe they come up and keep some of their players and buy some more, and they feel like they can actually compete. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I will say, I know everybody is like, oh, Sheffield United, Sunderland. Can we all just root for Sunderland just so we can get the Tyneside Derby back, please? I just want to see people literally in like police uniform getting ushered into stadiums again. Like there's nothing more exciting than that derby when it happens between Newcastle and Sunderland. It's literally like war on a pitch. So I need that back in my life. So please, Sunderland, get the job done. So for everyone